Hello children, your Arun sir going to teach biology for standard 9. It is chapter 11 digestive system and it is part 7. What we discussed in the previous video, we discussed about the small intestine. In detail we have discussed about the small intestine. There are three parts of the small intestine: duodenum, jejunum, ileum. We discussed about the villi and we discussed about the bile. That bile is secreted by the liver and is temporarily stored in the gallbladder. Through a common bile duct it enters the duodenum part of the small intestine, and bile contain two things. Those two things are pigment and salt. Those two pigments are bilirubin and biliverdin, and the salt is sodium bicarbonate. We have discussed. Today we have to discuss about the secretion of the pancreas. Try to understand. Secretion of the pancreas. If you are a bio student, you must be knowing that in biology, location and function is very, very important. Let us see. This is digestive system. This is the duodenum. Here, liver, and here is the pancreas. So, what is the location of pancreas? Just below the stomach on the left side, just behind the stomach in the left side. This part is clear, it is pancreas. And yesterday I have told you that liver secrete bile and pancreas secrete pancreatic juice. So pancreas secrete pancreatic juice. Pancreas secrete pancreatic juice. And what does pancreatic juice contain? Pancreatic juice contain three things. What are those three things? What are the components of pancreatic juice? They are amylopsin. Try to understand. They are amylopsin. First thing. Second is trypsin. And third is lipase, which is TFC. Third is TFC. Try to understand. Pancreas secrete pancreatic juice, and pancreatic juice contain three things: amylopsin, trypsin, and strepsin. Yesterday I have told that pancreas also secrete insulin, but here we are not going to discuss that part. Here we are going to discuss role of pancreas as a gland in digestion. That we are going to discuss. So we will discuss each and every component of the pancreas. The first one is amylopsin or pancreatic amylase. It is also known as pancreatic amylase. If you remember, I have taught that the pancreas secrete this pancreatic juice, this amylase. About salivary amylase I have discussed, and salivary amylase is secreted by the salivary gland. And what was the function? Function was to digest starch into maltose, a type of sugar. But I have told that digestion of starch was not completed in the mouth. Then where the digestion of starch will be completed? The digestion of starch digestion of starch will be completed by this pancreatic amylase, and this digestion is completed in small intestine. How this is done? How it is completed? It digests starch into maltose. Starch is converted to maltose, a type of sugar, by the help of what? Pancreatic amylase or amylopsin. Understood or not? Next, trypsin. Actually, amylopsin understood. Now coming to the trypsin. While we eat, our food contain starch, means fat, protein, different nutrients, and those nutrients are changed into simpler form so that it can be absorbed by our body. So next thing is trypsin. We eat different type of food which contain protein. Our food contain protein, and protein is made up of amino acid. 20 types of amino acids are there which combines to form protein. Now protein must be broken into simpler form, and the simpler form is amino acid. Try to understand. Peptides, amino acid, the protein must be broken. Now, here a question arises. How digestion of protein takes place? How protein is changed into amino acid, and that is the trypsin. Try to understand. Trypsin, which is a component of pancreatic juice, and that only helps in the digestion of protein. How it helps, that part is important. Actually, first trypsin, this trypsin in the beginning first secreted as trypsinogen. Try to understand. Trypsin in the beginning is secreted as trypsinogen, and that trypsin in the beginning is changed into trypsin in the beginning is secreted as trypsinogen, and trypsinogen is inactive and become active. An active form of trypsinogen is the trypsin. Now, here a question arises. How it will become active? Is there any magic that this trypsinogen will be changed to trypsin? No. Our small intestine, which is 7 meter long, also acts as a gland, and it secretes, and if it is a gland, it will secrete what? It will secrete enzyme, and enzyme is secreted. Which enzyme is secreted? Enterokinase. One enzyme is enterokinase, and this enterokinase changes trypsinogen into trypsin. Try to understand. This trypsinogen is changed to trypsin, and it is changed to trypsin by the help of enterokinase, and enterokinase by the walls of small intestine, inner walls of small intestine. This enterokinase is secreted by the inner wall of small intestine, and trypsinogen, which was inactive, will become active, and when it will become active, protein will be converted to peptides or amino acids. When it will become active, protein will be converted to peptides or amino acids. So it's very clear that trypsin helps in digestion of protein. Next thing, 3 enzymes I have told that pancreatic juice contain 3 enzymes. Those 3 enzymes, amylopsin, trypsinogen and steepsin. Let us discuss about the steepsin. The third enzyme is the steepsin. It is also one of the component of the pancreatic juice. And what is the function of this steepsin? 2 enzymes we have understood. And what is the function of steepsin? Steepsin change this fats into fatty acid and glycerol. Now before this, let me discuss. Our food also contains fat. We eat fat, or our nutrient contain fat, and that fat is converted to fatty acid and glycerol by the help of. And what type of fat? We have discussed about the emulsification of fat. Large molecules of fats are broken into small molecules, globules, which we have discussed. And those fats, small fat, by the emulsification, now they are converted into fatty acid and glycerol. Very clear or not? And next part, so small intestine we have discussed. Small intestine 7 meter long, where the pancreatic juice and liver pour their secretion. Pancreatic juice contains 3 components: amylopsin, steepsin and trypsin, and it was about the pancreas. Now small intestine, this is the stomach and it is pancreas. Here pancreas is there. This is a small intestine, and a small intestine, inner walls of the small intestine. I am talking about inner wall. Suppose this is a small intestine, duodenum, jejunum, ileum. Inner wall of the small intestine also acts as a gland and releases some of the enzymes. They are called as intestinal juice. So a small intestine, inner wall will releases intestinal juice. Very clear or not? Pancreas releases pancreatic juice, and a small intestine, inner wall of the small intestine releases intestinal juice. Now here also a question arises that what does this intestinal juice contain? Intestinal juice contain lipase, intestinal juice, intestinal juice contain lipase. Now, what is lipase? What is lipase? It change function of lipase, emulsified fat into fatty acid and glycerol. Lipase, emulsified fat, emulsified fat, emulsified fat is changed into fatty acid and glycerol. Fatty acid and glycerol. Try to understand. This lipase changes emulsified fat into fatty acid and glycerol. Very clear? Now some more thing. We have discussed that trypsin breaks protein into peptides. Now what happened? Peptides are changed into amino acid. Peptides are changed into amino acid. And once more try to understand. Trypsin breaks protein into peptide. Protein is broken into peptide. And peptides are changed into amino acid. Try to understand. This is the simple part which our body absorbs. So protein finally is broken into amino acid. First it is broken into peptide and then peptide into amino acid. And here one enzyme, that enzyme is secreted by the intestinal content part of the intestinal juice, and that part is the peptidase or epsin. Epsin we have discussed, or peptidase. See here, very easy to learn. Peptide by the help of peptidase changed into amino acid. If at last A is there, peptidase, it means it is what? Enzyme. Try to understand. Peptide is changed into amino acid by the help of peptidase. Same is the case. We have discussed that a starch is changed into maltose, a type of sugar, and maltose is not absorbed by our body. We have discussed that in mouth only the digestion of starch begins, but that is not completed, and it is completed in the small intestine, and starch is converted to maltose. That part is clear, that that is converted to starch is converted to maltose. Now maltose is not absorbed by the body. Glucose is absorbed. Glucose is the simple food which is absorbed by our body. So maltose is changed to glucose. Then only our blood can absorb. Means blood it can be absorbed by our body, and by blood it can be sent to different part of the body. Now here a question arises: is there also any enzyme? Yes, very easy to learn. Maltose by the help of maltase. Try to understand. Maltose by the help of maltase is changed to glucose. See the difference in spelling, OAC and ASE. So we teacher in biology are wrong. See, maltose is different thing and maltase is different thing. So maltose by the help of maltase enzyme is changed to glucose and glucose is absorbed by the body. Next thing which we have discussed, fat we have discussed, that it is changed into fatty acid and glycerol by the help of lipase, and we drink milk and milk contain a type of sugar. Can you name that type of sugar? Lactose. A type of sugar is changed, that is not directly absorbed, that is changed into glucose and galactose. Glucose and galactose and lactose by the help of enzyme lactase. Lactose by the help of enzyme lactase is changed into glucose and galactose, and glucose and galactose are absorbed by our body, and this way the process of digestion is completed in a small intestine. Now, not only the process of digestion is completed, but the process of absorption. What happens? We chew the food and food is broken into smaller parts, and that is broken into a smaller substance, diffusible form of substance, absorbable substance, and that is digestion, and the process of digestion is completed in small intestine. After small intestine, what happens after digestion? After digestion, there is first part is digestion, and after digestion, there is absorption. Means those digested food, whether glucose or galactose, whether fatty acid or glycerol, whether amino acid, they must be absorbed by our body. And we have discussed about this intestinal villi, and intestinal villi increases the surface area for digestion. Very clear or not? Very clear? No problem. And they reaches the blood circulation, reaches the blood. How they reach the blood? Means they are absorbed, first they are sent to the liver. Okay, they are absorbed, they are sent to the liver, and then first reach to the liver and absorb food reaches liver, and which is the blood, which is the duct through which absorbed food reaches liver, that is hepatic portal vein. Hepatic portal vein. By hepatic portal vein. Try to understand. This is the liver, the largest gland of our body, and digested food are sent by the help of hepatic portal vein, HPV. By the help of hepatic portal vein, these things are reached to the liver. Now, why it reaches to the liver? What liver will do? That part is important. Fatty acid and glycerol. Fatty acid, fat is converted, changed to emulsified fat, and at last the end product is fatty acid and glycerol. And fatty acids and glycerol are kept by the liver. They are stored, means fatty acid and they absorbed into the lymph vessel. It is reached to the liver, and this amino acid and this amino acid and glucose, all things, amino acid, simple sugar, glucose, galactose, they reach to the liver. And what liver does? Oh, that part I will discuss later on. Liver keeps some part and some part it sends back. We will discuss after a while. But before that, we are discussing about the fatty acid and glycerol. They are absorbed into the lymph vessel. And lymph vessel, lacteal we have discussed. Where? While we were discussing about the intestinal villi. And as we have got blood vessel in our body, we have also got lymph vessel. If you remember, in the tissue chapter we must have discussed about the fluid connective tissue. And those fluid connective tissues are blood and lymph. So some part reaches to blood and some part reaches to lymph. Blood flows in blood vessel and lymph flows in lymph vessel. Very clear or not? As we have network of blood in our body, blood vessel in our body, we have also got lymph vessel. And this fatty acids and fats, fatty acid and glycerol goes to the lymph vessel. Now, dear children, suppose I am eating now. After what time this food will be completely digested? It depends on the nature of the food. But average is 4 hours. After 4 hours, the process of digestion is completed. Very clear? Now, small intestine part is clear. Small intestine part is clear. Now, after small intestine, the important part of the food is absorbed and is sent to blood vessel and lymph vessel. What happened to the other part? See here. Stomach, small intestine, and here this is the duodenum, ileum and cecum. Duodenum, ileum and jejunum and ileum. Three parts of the small intestine. Here, see here, small intestine ends in a blind pouch. This is the blind pouch where it goes. It meets a blind pouch. Here it is blind pouch, and this is the vermiform appendix. Now, dear children, from here the large intestine starts, and you can see large intestine, it will come here. This is vermiform appendix, and sometimes due to inflammation in this appendix, a disease known as appendicitis is caused. Right side, see, if I am standing like this, my right side is this, right hand is this, and right side of the abdomen is the appendix. And due to inflammation, the disease known as appendicitis is caused, and only surgery is the remedy. After surgery, doctor removes it. This is a vestigial organ. Vestigial organ means of no work. This is the organ which has no work in our body. But if it is working, we can digest cellulose. we can't digest cellulose. Means cellulose is present in the green plants. You know that plant cell wall is made up of cellulose, and cellulose we can't digest. It acts as a roughage in our body. If we are able to digest cellulose, it means our appendix is functional, like other herbivorous animal, elephant, buffalo. They eat green grass only, and how they are powerful. But thinking that elephant can graze grass or leaves and can become so strong, why we can't? We can't, because our vermiform appendix is not functional. Earlier it was functional, now it became a vestigial organ, means such organ which has no use. Very clear? So now the undigested part of the food, everything is not digested in a small intestine. Undigested part of the food is left over. And the important component of the food is absorbed by the small intestine and is reached to blood vessel and lymph vessel. And here in a large intestine, nothing is digested. Try to understand, large intestine, nothing is digested. No digestion takes place because the process of digestion ends in the small intestine. Then what happens? Absorption of water. Absorption of water. Water is absorbed from the undigested food. As a small intestine has got three parts, there are three parts of large intestine also. What are those three parts? Those three parts are cecum, colon, and rectum. So this blind pouch where the small intestine joins the large intestine, this part is the cecum. These folded parts are the colon, and this is the colon, and last part is the rectum. What happens in this large intestine? From the undigested food, water is absorbed. If water will be absorbed from the undigested part of the food, it will become semi-solid, and that semi-solid part is stored in the rectum. Stored in the rectum. And from time to time, especially in the morning, by the help of anus, this undigested food is thrown out. And that process is called as defecation, and that is the part which is thrown out is the feces. The part which is thrown out, that is the feces, and the process of throwing out, that is called defecation. And one more thing which I have to discuss, feces we have discussed, yellowish in color. Whatever color food we eat, that is yellowish, and that is due to the bile. But sometimes a little bit there may be change in color because different type of food we eat. And feces, the quality of feces depends on person to person. Try to understand what I am teaching. The feces may vary from person to person, and slight change in color is also there. What is there in the feces? Let us see. Maximum water, 75% water and 25% solid part. Try constant. Feces 75% is water. 75% is water and 25% solid part, which is thrown out, and water is also thrown out, solid part, and phase protein is also there, a little bit 2 to 3%, and fat is also there, 10 to 20%. Okay, and one more thing, as the process of defecation takes place, here in anus one muscle is there, that is sphincter muscle. Sphincter muscle means circular muscle, round muscle, and due to this round circular muscle, try to understand, due to round circular muscle or sphincter muscle, this is the last part of the neck, this is the rectum, and this is anus. And here this muscle is the circular muscle, sphincter muscle, and due to this muscle the anus is closed. Due to the presence of sphincter muscle, the anus is closed, and here the undigested food is stored and it is pressed from inside. As it is pressed from inside, the anus opens and some part of feces come out, and again the anus is closed. Try to understand, it never happens that once the anus opens and all the waste product comes out. It never happens. The anus is closed, it is pressed from inside, it opens and some part of the feces comes out, again it is closed. Very clear? And that is due to the presence of sphincter muscle in the anus. Now, one more thing I will discuss. What I will discuss? That if you will, this toilet area or if you will cross, it will smell badly, or the feces smells badly. Whatever you are eating doesn't matter. Nice food you are eating, but the smell, the odor of the feces is very bad. And why that type of smell is there, why that type of odor is there? That is due to the bacterial action. Certain bacteria are present in our large intestine. Certain bacteria are present. They are not harmful bacteria. They are harmless bacteria. And those harmless bacteria are present in our large intestine. Bacteria present in large intestine gives that odor, the smell. Why? Due to bacterial action. Better to write bacterial action in large intestine gives bad odor, not good smell, bad odor. Odor means smell to the feces. Very clear or not? Why the feces smells bad? That I have discussed. Very clear. Now absorption of food and throwing out of food, that we have discussed. One more thing, assimilation of food. And tomorrow we will discuss about the assimilation of food and certain experiments related to digestion we will discuss. Today up to this much. Thank you very much.